Welcome back to Sandra Sells Tells. Real estate, real people, real Plymouth. Tune in while you're driving, walking the dog, or just chilling. Let's go. I'm your host, Sandra Smith with Gibson Sotheby's International Realty, and today we're diving into a topic that touches so many families but isn't talked about nearly enough. Today I'm joined by Ashley Evirs. Did I say your last name right? Evirs. Ashley Evirs. I'm sorry. I mess up everybody's name.
That's
but
okay.
Ashley Evirs, an experienced elder law attorney who helps families navigate some of life's most important and sometimes overwhelming decisions. We're going to talk about protecting your assets, planning for long-term care, what happens if there's no plan in place, and how all of this ties directly into real estate. If you have aging parents, are planning ahead just for yourself, or just want to avoid costly mistakes, this is an episode you don't want to miss. So grab your drink. Let's get started. Hi, Ashley. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. So, elder law attorney, what exactly does that mean and what do you do?
What's the point?
I know,
right?
Exactly.
So you'll find estate planners that will do trusts and wills and help folks. But then we get to the elder part. And that's where we really focus in on our aging community of seniors, but also that diminished capacity component, which is our community of folks that have potentially long-term care side effects. They could have dementia, Alzheimer's, or it's just natural aging, and they're scared about that next chapter and what that might look like from a legal and financial aspect.
Okay, well said. What do you think is one of the most biggest misconceptions about elder law?
I have time, so I don't need to do it yet.
True.
Right? Or nowadays we're finding a lot of folks coming forward saying, oh, I don't have anything. It's not worth it. Or they realize that maybe it's more than just the will document, because so important are that healthcare proxy, that power of attorney, the HIPAA authorization, those documents that help guide those incapacity moments where they're just as important for your family and loved ones to know who's going to be the point person, who are we calling, but really to make sure that your medical team, your financial team knows who they're going to be able to turn to help you in that time.
So what age should people realistically start planning for that?
I found it's never too early, but when it comes to the elder component, usually we start having those conversations around age 65. Okay. And I think that's because they've signed up for Medicare. So they're starting to hear these government buzzwords. They're starting to hear the concept of mass health. What does that mean? Does that affect me? But if you have any sort of family history, any sort of diagnosis, any pattern of cognitive impairment, whether it is that Alzheimer's, we need to have those discussions much sooner just so we can plan and prevent those scenarios.
Right. Well, I notice that even now that, even 10 years ago, you go to the doctor and they're like, who's your healthcare proxy? Mm-hmm. So I think they're having people start that a lot sooner, right? Do they need to come to an elder law attorney to get a healthcare proxy?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, because I can go to CVS and I can get hair dye and I can take care of my hair.
Yep.
But when it goes onto my hair and it gets all messed up, I have no one to blame but myself. And when it comes to our legal documents, that is not something anyone can afford to goof up by mistake. So while we may have some healthcare documents that we can do on the fly, if there's an emergency, I never want it to be pinpointed just to that medical facility. I don't want it to be just with that one practitioner. I want to make sure it's universal, that it'll work anywhere you may be, but also if it's outside of Massachusetts, it would still be recognized. It still gives your family, the loved ones, the knowledge to know who's going to make those decisions for you.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. So how does elder law intersect with real estate decisions?
Very common as seniors start aging, we'll get those phone calls saying, oh, I just want to add my daughter to the deed. Oh, I've already taken care of this trust. It's all set. So I don't have to do anything anymore when it comes to my legal paperwork. And we're finding that those self-help methods are not great. So to have the conversation with Laura and say, listen, it was really nice that you put your daughter on the deed, but her divorce, your house is not part of that discussion. You're going to lose part of that equity. Or your son that had the failed business and now his creditors are coming after him, they're going after your home too. So while your intentions were good, the planning didn't match the goal. So we have to have the conversation so you understand the strategies that are available and to make sure we're actually checking off the boxes and not causing any sort of financial harm for your family, but also a tax implication that you didn't realize otherwise.
I love that you just said that because I think so much, and even being, a parent of 3 adult children, it's like you want to protect them and like, oh yeah, I'll just leave it to them. It'll be fine. But you don't think about what could happen down the line. 10 years from now, you're no longer with that spouse, but they're still on it.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Or even yourself could, have a change in a relationship status, and it was never taken off of one of those things. So they need to be, I've heard many stories like that. So how do they go about doing that? Like if they want to have what's the best way to protect their real estate investment, but include their family?
We love to talk about trusts. We do. And there's certainly...
what is a trust?
Think of a trust like a will replacement.
Okay.
It says who's going to receive the asset, who's in charge. But it goes more in depth because it doesn't require us to use the court system to activate the document. So you can establish a trust while you're alive. You can name the players, if you will. But you always have the control to update it as your family and your relationships change.
Okay.
So if you ever choose to include other persons, we can modify the trust to do it. And when it comes to the sphere of Medicaid planning, we have many different types of trust. I kind of joke that they're apples at the grocery store. They're not the same. They're not going to taste the same. They're not going to work for everyone. So it's really diving in on those initial conversations to ask the client, what do you want to do? How do I got to get nosy in the first 10 minutes and really dive into your personal world. So I don't care that you don't like your daughter-in-law, but I need to know about it.
Right.
And if you have this son that maybe has an addiction issue, okay, let's talk about it. Or if you're saying, though, if nothing else, I want to make sure I protect my home for my family if I ever need care, then we're talking about a Medicaid protection trust. Allowing that senior to still live in the home, decide who'll receive the asset, but also know that once we get outside what's called this 5-year look-back period, that we have now protected it and shielded it from the government.
So that 5-year, I got a couple of questions here. That 5-year look back that you just talked about, somebody puts their house in a trust. Let's start with, when is it the time to put your house in a trust?
Everyone should have their house in a trust.
No matter the age?
No matter the age, because the courts don't need to get involved in my business.
All right. So
period.
Anyone that's in their 40s, 50s, 60s, have your house in a trust now?
Yes.
Okay.
There's no downside to it. There's no negative implication. Depending on what type of trust we pick, again, you'll still have that flexibility to amend and change over time.
So it doesn't just need to be in the will, I'm leaving my house to my 3 children divided equally.
Correct. Nope.
Correct. Put it
Take
in a
all
trust.
that information and stick it in a trust.
Okay. So you take all that information that's like in a will. Do you have both a will and a trust?
Yes.
Okay, yes. Good. All right. So you have a will, you have a trust, and in your trust is your house.
Yes.
And it's protected. And you said something about a 5-year look back. Now, I know what that is, but I'm sure there's a lot of people listening that don't know what that is. What is that?
Yeah. So let's take a step back, too. For purposes of elder planning, we're oftentimes talking about the Medicaid program, not Medicare. When you turn 65, Medicare helps deal with your health insurance, your hospital stays. Medicaid component for this conversation is the nursing home or long-term care subsidy that the government provides. So the federal government calls it Medicaid, and every state has the opportunity to put their strings and their little attachments onto it. So here in Massachusetts, we call it Mass Health. And it's, of course, because we're confusing, at any given time, there's about 10 to 12 Mass Health programs in Massachusetts. So again, for this conversation, we're only talking about the senior needing long-term care over 65. As you get over 65, should you ever need help, nursing home care, skilled care, and you can't live independently at home, at that point, you will spend down and use your resources to pay for your care. Once you've exhausted your monies, if you're an individual single, we have to get down to $2,000.
Wow.
If we're married, we're looking at about $164,000. My job as the planner is to look at these assets and say, how can we reposition them? How can we try and recategorize what's in what column to make it non-countable against those dollar values we just mentioned?
Yep.
But also when it comes to the home, I'm hoping we did planning 5 years before we've needed to apply for Medicaid benefits. The government says any transfer, gift that was less than fair market value 5 years before you're applying for assistance is something that we have to call you out on. You either have to give the gift back or you're going to be assessed a penalty period based on the value of what you gave away.
Is that protected if you're in the trust?
In a Medicaid protection trust, we get outside 5 years and we are protected.
Yeah, so you need to have it in there. That's what the 5 years is. It's got to be in that trust for 5 years before they can come after it.
Mm-hmm. And one of
if it's in there for 4 years, they'll come after it.
Correct.
Okay.
And one of the misconceptions we found is people think when they put their house in this Medicaid trust, they're stuck. They can't do anything.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter the character or shape of the assets. So if, for instance, you did this Medicaid trust for your home and 4 years later it didn't work out and you couldn't live at the home, you actually can sell. The trust would sell your home.
That's one of my next questions with the real estate tie-in. How does that impact selling a home?
Not a problem. The real estate can still be sold, no different, and the proceeds could be used to purchase the next home. So think of folks that have the big house.
Yep. And
now we have an empty nest.
Yep.
So we have the opportunity to sell your home and use the proceeds to maybe purchase something that's more an age and place appropriate, whether it's a condo or one-floor living, even a manufactured home. All of it's possible.
Okay, very good, very good. We just kind of touched on some of the other questions that we're going to talk about between the asset protection and Medicaid. I love this, that we just kind of jump on that. But let me just make sure we got what that is. So what happens if there is no will or trust in place?
Well, if we have nothing and we're a senior that needs help, believe it or not, the will doesn't matter because the will only comes up when we've passed away. That's where at the beginning of that conversation when we're saying like, what do we really need?
Yeah.
I'm more concerned about that healthcare proxy, a power of attorney, and a HIPAA authorization. Those documents are the key foundation that anyone and everyone should have.
So that's the first three. Say those again. For
healthcare proxy.
Healthcare proxy.
So if you cannot make or communicate your medical decisions, your doctor's turning to this person and saying, what do we do? Whether it's what facility, what physicians, what medication, what course of action. They call the shots for you.
Okay.
The next document's called your power of attorney. It's a massive umbrella. It's the big kahuna of them all because that's the person that can stand in your shoes out of convenience, meaning you turn 80 and you say, forget this. I don't want to deal with balance in my checkbook.
Right.
Or out of necessity that you have some sort of cognitive impairment.
Yep.
That's the person that has access to your assets, your finances, your usernames and passwords, your cell phone bill, anything. And then that last document is called the HIPAA authorization. I usually call that the forgotten middle child. And the reason for that is that's a document where you are authorizing people to talk to your medical professionals and just ask questions. They don't get to make decisions, but they get to be in the know. So as we're dealing with elders, it actually is a great gateway for families to reach out to the primary care, to reach out to the supports and say, I'm concerned because I see this at home. So when they come in next week for their physical, I'd love your assessment on that, and then follow up with the doctor after the fact. It allows that free exchange of information without feeling as though your loved one is the horse and pony show on display in the moment.
Right. And families want to know. So if they don't have that HIPAA.
Well, they want to know.
Yeah, they want to know.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen situations where families disagree?
Always. Right? So
how do you handle that? I come from a large family, so I've seen it in my own family, but how do you handle that?
It's difficult because I find that I kind of start to be like the witch in the room because I can see it. Everyone comes in, everyone's really concerned about mom. Mom's not talking. She's just sitting there with her purse in her lap.
Yeah.
And we have 4 people that love her dearly and their heart's all in the right place. But wow, does everyone have a different voice that wants to be heard? So the best approach I've found is to almost sit and just let everyone talk.
Yep.
I want to hear the tea. Tell me everything that's going on. Tell me your concerns. That's wonderful. Now I'm going to kick everyone out of the room and I want to talk to mom alone. Because there might be things she's not comfortable sharing with everyone.
With Sally versus Joey.
Exactly. And sometimes she leans on certain family members and she's not always forthcoming with everyone. Or, that senior is still my client. I'm their advocate.
Correct.
So there are times where I say, if you don't want to talk about something, we don't have to in this room of people. So do me a favor, ask me about the weather. And that immediately allows them that peace of mind saying, okay, I'm not going to be put on the spot.
Yeah.
So
that's nice. That's nice. That's a nice approach to have, and peace of mind for that client of yours. That's
absolutely.
good. What do you think is one thing that surprises clients the most?
That you can't just give it all away. Right? So
that's all I do. I just want my kids to have it.
I just want them to have it. I worked so hard.
Yeah.
And it's a very big
they deserve it.
Juxtaposition of we spend our life working to save for the rainy day. And then as we age, we realize we're now going to use those savings not to just give away to our family, but to use it on our care. So to have to pay $8,000 potentially for assisted living each month, or $18,000 a month for a nursing home benefit, it's daunting to see those numbers and those assets just drop so quick.
Yeah, so true. What's the most common too late scenario?
Oh, when you get the phone call when they're at the hospital.
The crisis mode.
The crisis mode. And it's always Friday at 2:00 and the hospitals are saying, we're not going to cover you. You have to get out. And it's a difficult conversation. Hopefully we have the planning documents in place. And that's where, as a planner, I found a lot of my world is connecting with other people, connecting with resources or the proper professionals so I can calm the client down, pull them off the ledge and say, this isn't ideal. Yes, you're in crisis, but we have the appropriate resources in our community. Stop going to Google. Call me. Let's make sure we have the right people to get mom placed, and we can make it happen.
That's good. It's good to know that they have that in you, and you're not just filling out the paperwork for them. You're there for them to help them with those very difficult decisions. Yeah. If someone's listening right now and they take anything away from this episode, what should they do first?
They need to have the conversation.
With mom or dad.
Mm-hmm. And if they don't know how, they need to call.
Or themselves.
If they don't know how, they can always call. And I've been trying to help educate folks, adult children, if you will, and broaching those conversations. Because so many of our seniors keep everything tight to the vest.
Yeah.
They don't want to talk about their money. They're not going to share what it is. Oh, they'll find out when I'm dead. Right? And that's not helping anyone.
Yeah.
So it's kind of coaching. If you don't know what to do, give me a call. Hey, I know you've mentioned what you want to have happen. Let's get it on paper, just for peace of mind.
Yeah.
Just get it on paper. And it allows us to have the conversation so it's not some stuffy atmosphere. And oftentimes I'm going to people's homes because they feel like they're in their castle.
That was one of my questions too. Do they come to you? Do you go to them?
Whatever they're comfortable with.
Zoom?
Seniors don't like Zoom.
Yeah, they can't figure it out.
Nope. They want they want to see you in real life to make sure that you are a person.
And you're real and you're genuine. Mm-hmm. And you're nice. You have a kind face. Yeah. Another question, gift assets.
Yeah.
Should they do those or hold them, or what do you think of them?
There's no one size that fits all answer.
Yeah.
Right. So the IRS will tell us that we can gift $19,000 per person per year. Have at it. So it's a very common strategy where clients will come in to talk about elder planning, or they're about to face a long-term care move for one of their parents.
Yep.
And they say, well, we brought the checkbook, so we're just going to do $19,000 checks to everyone around the space. Yes, the IRS says you can do that, but the Office of Medicaid says, oh, no. Anything $1,000 or more within that 5-year period, you got to give it back. You can't do it.
So in that 5-year period, meaning they haven't quite made the 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if it's past the 5 years, they could do it?
No, we still can't do it.
Not at all.
No,
okay.
we can't do
Interesting.
it.
There's just so much. People
difficult.
need to come talk to you because there's so much to absorb and take in to have the right plan in place. for their loved one, and even for ourselves. Like you said, we should all have our house in a trust right now, right? And the top 3 documents, you want to say those again before we end this episode that everybody needs to have?
Absolutely. Your healthcare proxy,
Yep.
your power of attorney, and your HIPAA authorization. Everyone needs them.
And don't get them online.
No, please don't. Please don't. Go to a planner.
Go to a planner.
And feel comfortable asking about fees.
Elder law attorney. If somebody wanted to reach you, how would they reach you?
Best way for us, believe it or not, is the phone.
Okay.
We're old school when it comes to that. So
And what's your phone number?
my direct line is 857-957-0859.
Very good. So, and where is your office located?
My office is here in Plymouth on Samoset Street. I'm with Dalton and Feingold. So we have offices all up and down Massachusetts. But for me and the seniors, oftentimes I'm going to them. So I'll travel.
Yeah, can't go anywhere. Seniors like it when we can go to their house and sit down with them. So your final, I'm going to leave with the key of the week, but what is your final takeaway that you want people to take away aside from having those 3 very important documents?
Aging is scary, and you don't know it until you've started it and you're in the thick of it. And so often we get frustrated with our loved ones, but really they're acting out of fear. So as an elder care attorney, my goal is to build their confidence. My goal is to advocate for them and to really allow them the opportunity to know they can maintain that level of control by having the people in place in their documents that they have selected.
Excellent. It's very true. And I know people that have worked with you and just love your approach and your kindness. And you just make people feel comfortable because it is a scary conversation to have and to talk about for the person themselves, their family members. And like you said, family dynamics are very different and not everybody's always on the same page. And sometimes it tends to always fall on one of the family members versus the others. But everybody has an opinion. So it's nice. I love what you said earlier about you let them all talk, and then you might kick them out of the room and talk to the person we're really there for to make sure you have the right plan in place for them.
Absolutely.
So super helpful, super great. So the name of your firm as well, again, you are with who? So everybody knows?
Dalton and Feingold.
And you guys I know you have one in Boston? Yeah.
Boston, Andover, Wakefield.
All
Hingham,
over.
Plymouth, where you need to be.
So if you're on the South Shore, call Ashley for these things. But if you're further north of the city, they have elder law attorneys there as well, too.
Wonderful team.
Yeah, awesome. So I always end my episode with the key of the week. And this week's key of the week is don't wait for a crisis to make a plan, which comes into play in so many things. I had an earlier episode with Hughes Health and Wellness, dementia care nurse practitioner, and she said the exact same thing. So the biggest and most expensive mistakes happen when families are forced to make emotional decisions under pressure. Whether it's your home, your assets, or your healthcare wishes, having a plan in place gives you control, protects your family, and creates options. A simple conversation today can save you stress, money, and heartache tomorrow. Such an important conversation, and honestly one every family should have. Ashley, thank you so much for sharing your expertise and breaking this down in a way that actually makes sense. If you're listening and thinking, I should probably look into this, take this as your sign. Start the conversations now. And as always, if you're thinking about buying, selling, or just trying to understand how real estate fits into your bigger life plan, I'm here to help. This is Sandra Smith, and I'll see you next time on Sandra Sells and Tells.